Live from the BDN Studios, it's Bang and Dang.
That's awesome.
If you don't like that, then
You ain't black.
All right, welcome back to Outlaws, Gunslingers MC edition, MC series.
Meerkats.
Wrapped up the Outlaws last month and on to the Bandidos, who are the third biggest club in the world.
What does Bandido stand for in English?
Yep. Bandit.
The Bandits.
Yeah, obviously. Yeah, the Bandidos, third largest club in the world. They got about 2,000 to 2,500 members, 303 chapters in 22 countries. Obviously, as you would think, numerous law enforcement and international intelligence agencies classify them as an organized crime syndicate. A syndicate. Yeah, we'll go through, obviously, their history and, like, their insignia and their membership and all that stuff. And then, to make the episode longer, we'll go and do the owners or the founders' profile, because that wasn't very long. And then we'll do about 5 or 6 countries that they've done crimes in, just to make the episode at least about an hour, maybe 45 minutes. But then our next episode will be the rest of the countries around the world, minus Denmark and Australia. They'll have their own episode.
Yeah.
And then there's something called the Shedden Massacre that happened in Ontario. That's a whole episode in itself. We'll have an episode on that. And then, obviously, as we usually do, we'll end it with crimes in the United States, which is a lot of them. So we're going to get about a good 4 or 5 episodes out of the old Bandidos.
Gonna get it.
So, yeah, that's what we got going on here. On March 4th, 1966, San Leon, Texas. 36-year-old dock worker named Donald Eugene Chambers. He decides he's had enough of the 9-to-5. He's inspired by the Mexican bandits of old. Guys who lived life on their own terms, no apologies, robbing people, doing whatever they want. So he founds the Bandidos Motorcycle Club, name it in honor of those rule-breaking legends. He hits up biker bars across Houston, Corpus Christi, Galveston, San Antonio, pulling together a crew of like-minded riders.
Nice.
He said, who wants to ride?
These guys aren't your weekend Harley hobbyists. They proudly call themselves one percenters, which is a term that comes from a former American Motorcyclist Association president who said that 99% of bikers are law-abiding citizens. But that 1% you ask, well, they're the outlaws. And the Bandidos wear that badge with pride.
They're like, we're not the Outlaws, we're the Bandidos.
Right. Don Chambers, born November 23rd, 1930. He's a battle-hardened Marine, fresh off serving in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Back in Texas, he's working as a longshoreman.
Damn, wait, he served in Vietnam?
Nice.
He was already...
Dude, it's almost
30-something?
He's almost 40 years old when he started in Vietnam.
Right. What's up with that guy?
So you know he didn't get drafted.
He didn't go to Korea? He would have been 22-ish.
Right. You think, yeah, he sure would have went to Korea.
Interesting.
Wow, maybe that's where they met.
Definitely Vietnam. You'll see that's what the colors of the motorcycle club is based off
Right.
of.
Back in Texas, he's working as a longshoreman, hauling cargo on the docks, riding with various motorcycle clubs as well on the side. But those clubs you asked that he's riding with, well, they're way too tame for a guy like Chambers. He's like,
He said, come on, guys. All you guys do is ride.
like, boring. We passed like 8 bars on. What the fuck?
Let's shoot somebody.
Right. That's when he's like, I'm done with this shit. I'm going to found my own group. It's going to be called the Bandidos. What? It's going to be called the Bandidos.
Bandingos.
And those red and the gold colors the club adopts, well, that's straight from the United States Marine Corps, a tribute to its time in the service.
They sure are. They might have one of the better looking logos as well.
That's decent.
Chambers, he wasn't just about riding. He was out of control. Or he was about control and out of control. 1969, he takes charge when a Bandidos member wanted for murder unrelated to the club. He starts drawing heat from the cops. Chambers oversees the guy's abduction, a brutal beating, and hands him over to the police to keep the club out of the spotlight.
Nice.
But as usual, trouble follows after a deadly shootout with a rival gang at a bar in Houston's East End, where they supposed to be hashing out a peace deal there. Chambers hightails it to New Mexico.
Wow.
Jeez.
Now, here's where things get really dark. 22nd of December. Chambers, he says, you know what? Along with his fellow bandito, Jesse Deal, they call him Injun, and Crazy Ray Vincent, they tangled
Vincente.
up. Oh, Vincente, yeah. And Crazy Ray Vicente, they get tangled up in a deadly scheme. Uh-oh. They abduct 2 drug dealers. Well, they did abduct 2 people.
They did.
They abduct 2 drug dealers. They're brothers, Marley Leon Tarver and Preston Lee Ray Tarver. This is in El Paso. Why do you say that? Well, the bros had ripped off the Bandidos. Some of them baking soda. disguised as amphetamine.
Oh, come on, guys.
The bikers drive the brothers out into a desert, force them to dig their own graves, shoot them with a shotgun, set their bodies on fire.
All right.
Club's prospect and a police informant, Robert Munderland, witnesses the whole thing, and he later testifies. Chambers, Deal, Vincente, convicted, handed life sentences.
Life.
Later on.
Well, during this time, I would assume he's in prison by now. A tragedy strikes his family in 79. His 23-year-old son, Stephen Trammell Chambers, shot in the head during an argument in the parking lot of a Houston nightclub where his wife worked as a waitress. A man named Leon Dudley, they call him Stash, he's charged with the murder, but skips town only to be caught in 2016 in Ohio. Here's a twist, though. 2017, charges are dropped when it's revealed the real killer was using Dudley's name and stolen social security number. Identity theft, man. Get you in trouble. That's crazy. Why'd he skip town?
Wow, right. Chambers supposed to be spending life in prison, but he ends up getting paroled in 1983.
Dude, that's crazy. He didn't even serve 10 years.
Right. And he steps away from the Bandidos. And he's setting them down.
Probably his parole condition, I guarantee it.
Right. You can't bear on anybody. That's anybody. He settles down in El Paso. He lives there quietly until cancer comes in and kills him on the 18th of July, 1999 at the age of 68. He's laid to rest at Forest Park Cemetery in Houston under a big, flat gravestone that says it all. His name is Bandidos Pride and the iconic quote, "We are the people our parents warned us about."
It's kind of crazy that he left, but did he really leave? That's the thing. He left, and then they still gave him full Bandito stuff.
He's
the founder, though. I mean,
his other quote was, "I'm the one who comes knocking."
Right. I do the knocking. Well, by the early 70s, the club's roaring along with over 100 members, including a lot of tough-as-nails Vietnam War vets. Fast forward to 72, there's a new leader in town. His name is Ronald Jerome Hodge. He's a legend in his own right, earning the nickname Mr. Prospect. Because he was the old prospect and climbed the ranks to full membership faster than you can rev a chopper.
Oh, that's pretty fast.
Later, they called him Stepmother, which was a nod to Chambers' own nickname, Mother. Under Hodge, the Bandidos go global. 1983, they plant their flag in Sydney. We'll get to them. Thanks to a guy named Anthony Mark Spencer. He'd crossed paths with the Bandidos during a trip to the U.S. and decided to bring the club's ethos down under.
Yeah.
Down under to the outback. That's so stupid.
Right.
Excuse me, mate. Excuse me, mate. I'm in the outback.
Yeah. Well, this is when the Bandidos become more than just a Texas crew. They're an international force.
Yeah.
But not everything's smooth riding. December 1988, Hodge, he gets slapped with a 5-year prison sentence. He was plotting to bomb the homes and cars of a rival club. He doesn't make it out, though, because heart disease claims him in 1992.
Damn.
That sucks. The Bandidos, they keep on expanding, though. 1989, they're in Europe, setting up shop in Marseille, France. The 90s, well, let's see them spread into the Nordic countries.
Yeah, everybody's doing this right about now.
But that move there sparks a brutal feud with the Angels. Think high-stakes biker warfare, if you will.
Called the Nordic Biker Wars. We'll have a lot on that on our next episode.
Right. We didn't do that with the Angels?
Oh, I mean, we covered it. We'll probably have a whole thing on the whole thing.
Right. Leadership changes keep coming, though. James Edward Lang, third international president. His successor, Charles Craig Johnston. They both get hit with 10-year sentences in November 1998 for drug charges. Ooh, there's got to be more.
Well, then there's George Weggers. He takes the reins from 98 to 2005. He's no stranger to trouble either, going down for racketeering in October 2006.
Damn.
Well, they also go to Canada, and they get to take a little Canadian adventure, or misadventure.
All right.
So in 2000, they try to make inroads in Canada by merging with the Montreal-based Rock Machine. We've heard those guys a million times. It's a bold move, but it backfires. And this is the Quebec Biker War they're involved in here.
We all know what Quebec tried doing.
Yeah. And by 2003, Bandidos waved the white flag, ceding the province to the Angels. That's why they call it the Red Line or the Red Zone.
Yeah, they should have known better.
Yeah. Things go from bad to worse, though, in 2007 when their Canadian chapters collapse entirely after the infamous Shedden Massacre. We'll have a whole episode on that because that gets a little crazy, which is an internal bloodbath. That's a story for another episode. Like I said, they massacre like 8 of their own guys, dude.
I think there's either a miniseries or like a docu.
I'm sure there
a docu
be,
something.
Yes.
Of
Yeah.
that.
Crazy. Their own guys massacred them, dude.
It's cray-cray. 17th of July, 2007. Bandidos Western Hemisphere chapters. Well, they decide they're going their own way. We can go our own way. They split off from the European and Australian branches. According to the club's website, that's what they said. These guys are gone. And if you're picturing their iconic patches, know that the American chapters rolled out a redesigned version in 2011, doubling down on their distinct identity.
Oh. Well, we're going to talk about that insignia, famously known as the Fat Mexican. It's a caricature of a Mexican bandit rocking a sombrero, gripping a machete in one hand and a pistol in the other.
Oh.
It's brash, unmistakable, and it's credited to none other than the club's founder, Old Chambers.
Right.
Here's a little bit of lore from the Bandidos. Some say Chambers drew inspiration for the name and logo from the Frito Bandito, if any of you guys were alive back then, which was the mascot for Fritos corn chips back in the day.
Right.
But that ain't true because Frito Bandito didn't exist until 67, which was a year after the Bandidos were founded in 66.
Right.
So Fritos ripped off the Bandidos.
Very possible.
Maybe Chambers just ahead of the curve with his bandit vibes, or, like I said, maybe Fritos ripped off the Bandidos. What are they going to do?
Yep.
They didn't trademark it yet.
Frito-Lay is a major company.
I don't know about that back then.
The Fat Mexican isn't the only symbol these guys wear, and they wear it proud. You also spot the diamond-shaped 1%er emblem, which is a nod to their outlaw status. And then there's also a whole array of patches stitched onto the leather or denim vest. Those are their colors, the heart of their identity. These patches pop with red lettering on a gold background. That would be nice.
It is.
A color scheme that's no accident, baby.
Yes, we know.
Because we all know Chambers, a Vietnam War vet from the Marines, which pulled his inspiration straight from the logo of his chapter.
Well, these patches aren't just for show, as we know. They tell stories. Some mark a member's rank or chapter. Others carry deeper meanings. While the exact significance of each patch is kept close to the vest, pun intended. Law enforcement has flagged a few they believed are tied to criminal activity. For example, the Expect No Mercy patch. It's said to be a badge of honor for those who've committed murder for the club. Then there's the TCB patch, which is short for Taking Care of Business. That's worn by club officers and nomads. And there's also the CDG patch, which stands for Coup de Grace, which reportedly marks members who've carried out significant acts of violence.
Gangsters.
Yeah.
The real motherfuckers right there. These patches are like coded language, speaking volumes to those in the know. And then there's the mottos, which is phrases that capture the Bandidos' fierce loyalty and defiance. You've got cut one, we all bleed, which is a reminder that an attack on one is an attack on all, baby.
Except for when you're doing it to your own.
Right. Or God forgives, Bandidos don't.
Awesome.
That it's got some serious edge to it, though. There's also
another motorcycle, God forgives, Mongols don't, or something,
something like that. There's also Our Colors Don't Run, which everybody has.
Right.
Our Colors Don't Run, it says, signaling their never back down attitude. And then there's We Are People, our parents warned us about.
Yeah.
Right. This is peak outlaw energy, guys, right there. But the one you hear the most often, you guessed it, Bandidos Forever, Forever Bandidos, or BFFB.
Awesome. We'll see who gets to ride up on down the street and do some crimes with the old Bandidos. Rule number 1, you got to be a guy. No exceptions. Rule number 2, you need to own a Harley. Though they'll give a nod to other American-made bikes if you're lucky. I mean, as long as they're American.
Right.
But becoming a Bandito isn't just about showing up with a shiny motorcycle. It's a grind. You start as a hang-around, just like every other club. If you prove yourself, you get the prospect. Then you're on probation. This takes up about till you get voted unanimously to let you into the club that you're prospecting for, which could take years, could take months. They ain't messing around either because there's a hardcore screening process to keep out any law enforcement trying to sneak in undercover, except for the one prospect that sold out Chambers and them. But, well, once you're in, you seal the deal by signing your bike over to the club. Oh, no longer your bike.
I like that.
No, I don't.
Yeah, whatever. You still have your own.
Just buy a new one.
Right. Let's talk about structure. How these guys structured? Were they pretty good, or were they all over the damn place? Was there a clear leader?
I'm willing to bet they're just like the Mongols, the Outlaws, the Hells Angels, and everybody else we've done so far.
Well, each Bandidos chapter runs like a well-oiled machine. Has a president calling shots, vice president backing them up, sergeant at arms keeping things in line, road captain planning the rides, secretary treasurer handling the books, just like a regular old business. These guys live by a strict set of bylaws. For example, you never wear the club patch while riding in a car or truck. That's a big no-no. Wow.
Really?
You're also required to show up to church, which is the club's meetings, 4 times a month. Miss those or skip out on mandatory group rides, you ask? Well, your wallet's getting hit with a fine, and you might even lose the title to your motorcycle.
Right. Be riding in a sidecar like a little bitch.
Talk about commitment right there. Damn, that's got to be like the biggest one yet.
I think they've all required people to go to church. That was their meetings.
Right.
You had to go to that shit, and you had to pay monthly dues and all that.
That's true. It's like American Legion or something.
Well, yeah, a little more crazy.
Right.
The Bandidos' philosophy is crystal clear. All members are your brothers and your family. And they say it's not a catchy phrase, it's a way of life, but we'll prove that otherwise in a couple of cases. They expect you to stand tall, fear no authority, and have a healthy disdain for society's rules. Cross the line by talking to law, you're looking at a serious disciplinary action, probably death. Everything Bandidos, from the patches to the tats, is considered club property. Yeah, when you leave, you're getting that shit cut off you or burned off you.
Yeah, for sure.
Never get the fold back tat. You're also paying membership fees, which cover things like club expenses, funeral costs for members, and legal defense, which you're going to get when things get messy.
Wow. But here's the Grim Kicker.
The Grim Kicker. All right.
Well,
dude, that should be a motorcycle name.
All right, the Grim Kickers.
The Grim Kickers.
But here's a Grim Kicker. If a member takes their own life, the club bylaws are clear. They don't get a Bandido's funeral. Oh, he took a pussy way out. He gets spat on.
Wow.
That's how serious they are about their code. So, how big is their brotherhood, you ask? Well, Bandidos have an estimated 2,500 members worldwide. The United States Club is mostly made up of white and Hispanic men, united by their love for the open road and their defiance of the mainstream.
I'm sure that's what they're united by.
Right.
At the heart of the operation is a tight structure. It's a network of local chapters, each with its own vibe, but linked by state and regional officers.
Right.
Above them sits the national chapter, made up of 4 regional vice presidents and a national president. And at the very top, the international president, known as El Presidente, who calls the shots for every single chapter worldwide.
Nice.
Then they're the nomads. They're the club's roving enforcers. They go around the country, handle security, counterintelligence, keep internal discipline in check, recruit new members if they have to. And then there's the mother chapter, which is in Houston, which is the beating heart of the Bandidos since day one. Not like the Outlaws and the Angels. They both changed headquarters a number of times.
Shit. The Bandidos have 303 chapters spread across 22 countries. North America, Oceania, Europe, and Asia. Let's break it down by region.
Break it down.
Starting in North America, the United States is home to 93 chapters across 16 states. Texas, epicenter.
Yeah.
You'll find places like Louisiana, Missouri, Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas, New Mexico, Colorado, Montana, Wyoming, South Dakota, Utah, Idaho, Nevada, Washington, and Oklahoma. Fun fact, though, Bandidos incorporated as a nonprofit in Texas back in 1978. Later did the same in Washington and Alabama. Nice.
Non-profit, huh?
Good for them.
Okay, guys.
Yeah.
Well, they also made a bold play in Canada, which we'll see. Merged with the Rock Machine, like we said, in Quebec and setting up chapters Ontario, Alberta, Manitoba. But it wasn't smooth sailing, infighting, law enforcement heat, and orders from the American leadership shut down their Canadian operations by 2007. They also popped up in Costa Rica in 2004, proving their reach stretches south as well. Costa Rica might be the first one we've heard going down there.
Yeah, crazy. Over down by Australia and New Zealand, the Bandidos kicked things off in 1983, with the first Australian chapter in Sydney, formed by ex-members of the Bandidos Motorcycle Club. Since then, they exploded across Australia with 45 chapters.
Sure do. That's the second most in the world for them.
So then they set their sights on New Zealand. They started in 2012, hit some bumps in the beginning, but now they claim over a dozen patch members and prospects in the Christchurch area.
A dozen?
Ooh.
Well, let's cruise over to Europe, where the Bandidos have about 90 chapters. Maybe I was wrong then. It all began in Marseille, France, 1989. They kept pushing north, hitting Denmark in 93, Sweden in 94, Finland, Norway, 95. Germany got its first chapter in 2000, followed by Italy in 2001, and the Channel Islands in 2003.
Nice.
The Netherlands, they saw a chapter in 2014, but the government said, nah, you're out of here by 2017.
Ooh.
More recently, they've been expanding hard into Spain, Belgium, Estonia, Greece, England, and Ireland. Word on the street is they've even been eyeing Russia and Eastern Europe for future moves.
Okay.
In Asia, the Bandidos landed in Thailand in 2001 after merging with the Diablos Motorcycle Club in Pattaya. By 2006, they'd spread to Malaysia and Singapore, building a solid foothold in the region.
Good for you
look
guys.
At those guys, dude.
Look at that shit. Let's not forget the sport clubs, Bandidos extended family. Like other motorcycle clubs, they've got a network of smaller crews rocking reverse colors, gold borders with red backgrounds.
That'd be cool.
Flipping the Bandidos red border and gold look, as we all know. These sport clubs often sport a heart patch, a round emblem on the front of their vest, and most operate regionally, backing up the main club's mission.
Yep, smaller clubs do your dirty deeds done dirt cheap.
Get you done did, dig.
All right, let's take a look at some crimes. Well, a few crimes before this episode ends in a couple countries. Obviously, they're classified as a motorcycle gang by law enforcement and intelligence agencies in numerous countries. The club has denied being a criminal organization. Of course they have.
Of course.
Bandidos members have been convicted of partaking in criminal enterprises, including theft, extortion, prostitution, drug trafficking, and moida in various nations.
Okay.
Starting off with Belgium, their federal police, they don't mess around. They've already officially labeled the Bandidos a criminal motorcycle gang.
All right.
That's a red flag. It sets the stage for some serious crackdown.
All right.
Back in May 2015, the Dutch authorities came knocking. Belgium jumped in to help. They raided a property in Borgloon as part of a coordinated operation that also hit Bandido spots in the Netherlands and Germany. We'll hear about this about 5 more times.
All right.
Well, the cops stormed in, tore through the clubhouse, all part of a cross-border effort to put the squeeze on the Bandidos operations. Talk about some international heat, huh?
Ooh, serious. Fast forward, 28th September, 2020. Things even get wilder in Limburg, Belgium. Bandidos find themselves caught up in a massive drug trafficking investigation. Started when the police found nearly 3,000 kilograms of cocaine, which was stashed at the port of Antwerp in late 2019. That's a mountain of drugs, folks.
Wow.
Dozens and dozens of raids followed with the Bandidos members among those arrested. The cops didn't just stop there, though. They seized millions of euros in cash, piles of gold, and a fleet of luxury cars. It's the kind of bust that sounds straight out of the crime movie.
Sounds like it. Mm-hmm. But wait, there's more.
No.
On October 20th, 2021, a joint task force, Belgian federal police plus Spain's national police, they turned up the pressure. They launched 26 raids across Belgium, the Netherlands, and Spain, targeting 11,497 kilos of coke, hitting a shipment of scrap metal from South America to Antwerp. Jeez. Over 11 tons of coke. That's right. Over 11 tons of cocaine intercepted at the port. 13 people arrested in Belgium, but the biggest one of all.
Hey, you guessed it. President of the Bandidos in Spain. He's a Belgian national. He got nabbed up in Marbella.
Uh-oh.
He was pegged as he was pegged as the mastermind behind the old shipment. He faced charges of drug trafficking, money laundering, running with a criminal organization as well. The haul, well, it was unreal. 4 high-end cars worth 700,000 euro, jewelry valued at 300,000 euro, 17,000 in cash, encrypted phones, a stack of incriminating documents. Ooh. Wow. It's the kind of takedown that sends shockwaves throughout the whole underworld and the world, regular world.
Right.
The above world.
The above world. Well, that leads us to Canada. Criminal Intelligence Service of Canada, or the CISC.
They're like, excuse me, sir, sorry, but we gotta...
Sorry.
We gotta raid your house, sorry.
Sorry, we gotta slap you with the label of an outlaw motorcycle gang. Sorry.
You mind if I pick up this cushion and check underneath it? Sorry.
No surprise, obviously, given their track record. The Bandidos rolled into Canada in 2000, setting up chapters in Ontario, Alberta, Manitoba, and Quebec. By November 2007, their Canadian dreams were dead, though. Taken out by internal fighting, relentless police pressure, and the American leadership pulling the plug. We'll go province by province on these guys.
Damn right, starting in Alberta. We've got Joseph Robert Crazy Horse Morin. He's president of the Edmonton Rebels. Reaching out to the Bandidos in October 2001. He's like, we want to patch over, boys. By 2003, the Edmonton crew becomes the Bandidos Hang Around Club. But things take a dark turn January 30th, 2004. when Morin, now a probationary bandito, and hang around Robert Charles Simpson, they're gunned down outside an Edmonton strip club.
Gun down.
The murders remain unsolved, but word on the street is they were pointing to a group that was dead set against the Bandidos moving to the city.
I wonder who that group would have been.
Who that was. Later that very year, October 2004, the Edmonton Bandidos chapter, about 1820, flips to the Hells Angels Red Deer Nomads chapter. Oh, wow. Tripling the Angels' presence in Alberta. Holy shit.
Wow.
Talk about a power shift, eh? The Bandidos tried again in Calgary, 2007, but the Angels shut that down too with a violent bar brawl.
Hells Angels own Canada, man. Oh, over in Manitoba, eh? Things got ugly February 8, 2005, when a motorist is run off the road, kidnapped, and tortured for hours at a secret Winnipeg location. Wow. 2 probationary banditos, Ronald Charles Burling and Jason Llewellyn, Michelle, along with 2 others, Josh Adam Kerwin and Billy Joe Ducharm. They're charged with aggravated assault and abduction. Michelle, he pleads guilty October 2006, sealing another black mark on the club's record.
Oh, fuck. Well, we're moving to Ontario. This is where the infamous Shedden Massacre steals the spotlight.
Yeah, we'll have a whole episode on that. We're not going to talk about it at all on this.
2001, Chatham chapter of the Loners Motorcycle Club merges with the Bandidos, first as probationary members in May, then full members by December. Sponsored by the Danish Bandidos, they hit a snag, though. The Houston headquarters didn't sign off. This created tension.
Oh, yeah, can't be doing that.
Ooh, the American branch steps in to oversee the Canadians, but trouble's brewing. Because on June 5th of 2002, Project Amigo, a 15-month sting by the Royal Canadian Mounted Popo and Ontario Provincial Police, and the Sûreté du Québec. Sûreté du Québec.
They're the police force.
Right. They raid Bandidos across Ontario and Quebec, arresting most members, including National President Elaine Brunette.
Oh. Well, the operation guts the club's influence, leaving just 15 members scattered across southern Ontario, consolidated into a Toronto chapter.
Oh.
The violence don't stop there, though, because in June 2003, Bandito George Crash Kirakas, he gets jumped by a dozen Hells Angels outside a Woodbridge restaurant. Then in December 2005, 4 Banditos, Cameron Acorn, Pierre Carlito Aragon, Randy Brown, and Robert Bobby Quinn, they each plead guilty to killing drug dealer Sean Deuce, who they beat him to death at the apartment of prospect Jamie Goldberg Flans in Keswick. Brown, he gets life for second-degree murder.
Damn.
Acorn and Quinn get 9 for manslaughter, and Aragon gets 7 for aggravated assault.
Oh, shit. It's crazy. You only get 9 for manslaughter and you get 7 for aggravated assault. That's insane.
Right.
Might as well just kill the guy.
Or,
Get 2 extra years. Meanwhile, a plot to kill National President Frank Cisco Lenti surfaces in 2006. Hells Angels Raymond Ekle, they call him Ray, and Mark Cephas Stevenson, they're charged with Moida conspiracy. But they are acquitted in 2009 after testimony from police informant Stephen Gall. Lenti, refusing police protection, starts packing a handgun. On the 2nd of December 2006, he fatally shoots Angels Sergeant-at-Arms David Buchanan, they call him Dread. And he also wounds 2 others at a Vaughan strip club where he worked security. Oh, maybe he had a reason. Lenti, he pleads guilty to manslaughter and aggravated assault, getting 6 years in 2008.
okay.
So if you get manslaughter and aggravated assault, they reduce it.
2 years off. Jesus,
Right.
You know, that's a package deal. Right. Well, finally in Quebec, the Bandidos, they tie up the Rock Machine in December 2000 during the brutal Quebec Biker War, which we covered, against the Angels. The overmatched Rock Machine aligned with the Montreal crime families to resist the Angels' drug trade monopoly, and they patch over the Bandidos. Not everyone's on board, though. Some defect, others hope to reclaim independence. The war sees mass killings by the Angels and public outrage over innocent bystanders' deaths, leading to over 100 biker arrests. Project Amigo, starting as a Rock Machine probe in 2001, ends with the arrest of every Quebec Bandito in June 2002, wiping them out.
Damn.
By 2007, former Banditos reportedly helped revive the Rock Machine.
Oh, cool.
Good for them.
All right, let's take a look at Finland. The Finnish National Bureau of Investigation, or the NBI, they don't mince words. They classified Bandidos as an organized criminal group. With about 240 members and 14 chapters, they're the largest motorcycle club in Finland, backed by affiliated crews like the Outlaws and the X-Team. But their rise to dominance wasn't a smooth ride, as it never is. Let's start with the Nordic Biker War. This is a brutal turf war that kicked off in 1994. The Bandidos' roots in Finland trace back to the Undertaker's Motorcycle Club, damn phenom, which is founded by Mark
Callaway.
What?
Callaway.
which was founded by Marco Hirschma in August of 1994.
All right. By August of 95, the Undertakers, they hook up with Vince McMahon, and they hook up with the Bandidos in Denmark, becoming a probationary chapter before fully patching over October 5th of 96. This war, which began with the Morbids MC taking on the Angels in Sweden, it escalates when the Morbids align with the Bandidos, turns Finland into a battleground over the drug trade. Then things get wild in Helsinki in 95 and 96. Okay. April 1st, 95, an Undertaker's member shoots and wounds the vice president of the Hells Angels Allied Cannonball MC at a restaurant.
Oh, shit. Here we go.
Guys.
Then on the 25th of July, 1995, the Undertakers, they fire a stolen Swedish Army rocket-propelled grenade at the Hells Angels clubhouse in northern Helsinki.
Chase.
Two former Undertakers, now Bandidos, Kai Tapio Blom and Antti Tuano Tapani, they're convicted. Blom, he gets 6 years. Tapani, he gets 4. Then on 27th...
You only get 6 years for shooting a fucking RPG in
Right.
somebody's clubhouse?
Holy shit. And then on 27th September 1995, Hirschma himself is attacked and beaten by an Angel member and Cannonball member outside of a Helsinki courthouse during the trial. Holy shit, right outside the courthouse, huh? The Bandidos retaliate by torching an Angel's tattoo parlor. Ooh, all right, cool.
Well, we got more violence. February 12th, 96, 2 grenade attacks target the Angels. One bombs a restaurant in Tapanilla, injuring 2. Another one hits a motorcycle garage in Hernasari. March 1st, 96, 2 Bandidos are shot outside their campy clubhouse. Vice President Jarkko Kakko, he dies 16 days later while the other survives.
Damn.
2 Hells Angels prospects, Ilkka Jukkonen and Jussi Pentinen, they're convicted. Jukkonen, he gets 12.5, Pentinen 6. May 12th, 96, an unexploded bomb is found at the Hells Angels clubhouse as well.
Oh, shit.
Jeez.
And then a week later, 2 non-Bandidos, they blow themselves up, trying to lob grenades at the same spot. Both survive, but are badly injured. Marco Hirschma, he gets 9 months for orchestrating that failed attack. The war spills into the prisons, with the Bandidos and the Angels clashing over drug trade, including a beating of Hirschma in Sorka prison. It happened in November 1996. There's a truce that finally brokered on 25th of September 1997. And since then, the two clubs have coexisted without stepping on each other's toes.
Look at that.
Look at that.
There's brotherhood.
Without tipping each other's bikes.
Right. Well, Hells Angels, they ain't the only rivals in Finland. October 99, a Bandidos member and a hangaround. They get into a shootout in Lahti with a Rogues Gallery gang member, which
What's that, gang member?
one of them takes a bullet to the leg.
Right.
The gang member did. January 18, 2000, during a trial recess, Bandidos and their support club, Black Rhinos, are ambushed at a restaurant.
Ooh.
3 people killed, which are Helsinki chapter president Bjorn Isaacson, Sake Pira, and Black Rhinos member Juha Jalonen. Well, 3 others are wounded.
Oh, shit.
Dude, you can't be killing presidents,
No,
right?
not at all. 2 Bandidos, Kai Tapio Bloom and Andre Antoni Jensko, they are convicted for the initial shooting, getting 2.5 and 2 years to 7 months.
What are you doing, Finland?
April 2001, 3 Rogues Gallery members, former Cannonball bikers, Pertti Hamelanian,
Pretty good.
Pertti Hamelanian, Sami Koivola, and Ika Ledatsari. They get life for the restaurant triple murder.
Oh,
2005, Helsinki chapter president Pentti Tapio Hapanen and vice president Harry Tapio Renikanen, they shoot and wound a Rogues Gallery member and a Lapako gang member in Sornian, Helsinki. This is for payback for the 2000 murders. They waited 5 years.
yeah.
Renikanen, he gets 4 years, 3 months for attempted murder and firearms possession. Well, Hapanen, he gets 2 years and 2 months for aggravated assault and firearm charges.
Jeez. Well, it's not enough that they have to deal with other gangs. There's infighting as well,
You know it.
which nearly tore the Finnish Bandidos apart in 1999. Marco Hersma's leadership sparked a feud, shrinking the club to just 7 members, 4 of whom were in prison. Reinforcements from Norway and Denmark kept it alive, but Hersma, he was expelled and restarted the Undertaker's MC, even cozying up to the Outlaws. Well, the Bandidos didn't take too kindly to that. In spring 2000, they beat him and stole his bike in Germany, then strafed his home with submachine gun fire that autumn.
Oh, shit.
Jeez.
Damn. 20th of October 2001, recently paroled Bandidos Blom and Jinsko. They kill Hersma in a gunfight outside his Helsinki home.
This Blom guy.
All right. March 2002, they're convicted of that murder and an attempted murder of Hersma's wife, and also endangering bystanders, including children, getting life, and they're ordered to pay $50,000 to Hersma's widow and child.
Well, as you may think, drugs are a big part of the story as well. January 2008, 2 Bandidos, 5 ex-team members, and Espoo, they're charged with importing and distributing meth.
Oh,
Or
shit.
amphetamine.
Same.
Well, methamphetamine.
Right.
October 4, 2013, Southwest Finland District Court sentences several Bandidos and associates for a drug ring, which involved 4 kilos of amphetamine and illegal cannabis cultivation in Turku, with the main players getting over 7 years.
Oh, wow. 2016, a Tampere Bandidos leader flees to Thailand. He's wanted for distributing 25 kilos of amphetamine and also cocaine. Jeez. He's nabbed at Stockholm Arlanda Airport in March of 2017, handed over to the Finnish authorities. That very same month, charges against 6 Nokia chapter Bandidos for drug trafficking. They're dropped for lack of evidence, though some are convicted on lesser drug and firearm charges. Not trafficking, just possession.
Also, in March 2017, Tampere's chapter president and others faced charges for fraud, embezzlement, and forgery from 2013 to 14. October 2016, a Bandido, who was a hangaround, and an ex-team member are convicted for violently collecting a debt in Tampere in 2014, with their sentences ranging from 1 year suspended to 3 years, 2 months.
Oh, that's nice. Take a look at France. 20th September in France in 1989, when Bandidos planted their very first American flag, but it happens to be a European flag, in Marseille, by patching over the Club des Clichy. But moving into France wasn't a warm welcome. It sparked an all-out war with the Angels, who are already dug in. Things got heated, and they got heated fast, because on the 3rd of April 1991, Marseille chapter president Jean-Paul Debono, he takes a bullet in the arm when his tattoo parlor in Bouches du Rhône is shot up. And just weeks later, May 29, 1991, member Michel Burdel, they call him Boo Boo.
Hey, boo-boo!
Hey, Boo Boo. He narrowly escapes the park ranger.
Wait, he is. Hey, boo-boo.
He narrowly escapes a shooting attempt.
But what about the motorcycles? Well, the violence escalates June 91 when the clubhouse of the Wanted Bikers, a hot Savoy club, tied to the Bandidos but flirting with the Hells Angels, they get sprayed with bullets and their bikes are trashed.
Ooh.
August 22nd, 91, Burrell, he isn't so lucky. Aww. He's killed in a drive-by by 4 men on motorcycles, with 2 other Bandidos wounded. Shit. Acting on a tip from a snitch in the Buccaneers, who was a Hells Angels. Tip from a snitch in the Buccaneers. Now, they're a Hells Angels sport club. Police in Grenoble arrest 8 Hells Angels and some Buccaneers in February 92 for supplying stolen bikes used in the attack.
Oh, wow.
Now, later that year, December 7th, a bomb goes off at the entrance of the Hells Angels chapter in Grenoble, injuring a man in the back and legs.
Oh, fuck.
That's all. You do all that trouble to just injure somebody's legs.
Right. Well, the bad blood keeps flowing. 7th of May, 1995, Bandidos from Marseille, Montpellier, and Metz chapters. They team up to shoot 2 members. All that to get 2 members.
To get 2 guys.
Of the Apocalypse Riders, a Hells Angels support club. This is in Crency.
Sure.
Both survived.
Criancy,
Right.
probably, right?
Sure. Both survived, but one, Jerome Parent, is left paraplegic.
Paraplegic.
Damn it. This was payback for about 30 Angels rolling through a Bandidos Prospect Club's turf in Dijon the day before. Well, the fallout, you ask? Well, the Popo operation shut down the Montpellier chapter and the Dijon Prospect Club.
Oh.
So, on the 25th of March, 1999, Metz chapter vice president Dominique Colas, they call him Jesus, he's convicted of attempted murder for the shooting and sentenced to 18 years.
Jeez, they don't play around in France, apparently.
No.
You get 8 years for murdering somebody in Finland, but you get 18 over here. Attempted murder. Fast forward to 2003, and the Bandidos, they're tied to a massive drug haul. French authorities, they seized 200 kilos of cannabis on a boat in Saint Malo, headed for the Channel Islands and then Great Britain. Bandidos arrested and locked up in Rennes for the bust. August 2013, Dijon, they see more trouble. A violent clash involving firearms. They break out in the building's corridors, pitting the Bandidos against drug traffickers. A search of a Dijon chapter member's home uncovers a small arsenal, about 15 rifles, handguns, machine guns. 2 Bandidos go to jail as a result.
The drama ramps up again on 11th of March 2018 at a motorcycle rally in Pont de Mousson. 4 members of No Surrender's Metz chapter, they get jumped by the Bandidos from the Strasbourg chapter and their associates. They beat them and they steal their colors.
That's a big no-no.
February 2019, 10 Bandidos and associates arrested in Alsace and Haute-Marne for the attack. During the raids, a member of the Bandidos Sport Club bomber raids. They open fire on the police in Saint-Dizier and get slapped with an attempted murder charge. Damn, that's it? Just for shooting at the popo? And in July 2019, the Dijon criminal courts, they hand down prison sentences to 3 Bandidos, including the Dijon chapter president. They did that for violently robbing a Harley-Davidson from another club in Chevenay-Saint-Savoie. These guys, they don't mess around when it comes to their bikes, just like the French don't mess around with coming to their names.
Yeah, that's it for the first episode. A little bit of crimes here, but next month we'll be taking a look at places like Germany, places like Ireland, places like the Netherlands.
Oh, more names we can't pronounce.
New Zealand, Norway. We'll get in a little bit more of the Nordic biker war. Portugal, Spain.
Oh, fuck. It's going to get worse, guys.
Sweden.
Oh, shit.
Switzerland, Thailand.
Oh, definitely. And I think we cannot say anything in Thailand.
UK.
What kind of names we got in Thailand that we got to deal with?
Crispin John Grandeville Papon Smith. Jeez.
Koho Samhoy?
Oh, they're British nationals. Okay.
That'll work.
Yeah, but they're mostly Australian Danes and Swedes.
The Danes, huh? The old Danes.
Kim Lindegard Nielsen. He's definitely Swedish.
Right.
Yeah, they don't have Adrianus Van Gool.
Van Gool.
Dutch.
Oh, yeah. He's a Duchin. He's a
What about
Duchin.
Switzerland? Anybody there?
Zurich.
What about... What is this? Oh. Malmo. Stockholm, Sweden. Michael Lundgren.
Lundgren.
Marquard. Haslarp.
Stick to Smith and Jones. I mean, come on, guys.
Yeah, but this will happen next month, and then we'll do
Whoa, that's a weird one. Bickervold. Astrid
where the fucking letters are combined. The fuck. Yeah, next month we'll have Denmark, and we'll do this one next month, and then we'll do a Denmark and Australia one, and then we'll end it with, we'll probably do, since we did kind of Canada on this one, maybe next week, or the next ones we'll do the Shedden Massacre that occurred in Ontario, and then do this one, and then do the Denmark, Australia, and then end it with U.S. crimes.
Maybe.
Either or, we got all of them coming up at some point, so solid 5 months. So, on the old Banditos. So, but next week, we'll have another remastered, still in Prohibition era.
Ooh.
And we'll be covering old John Ashley. They called him the King of the Everglades.
Right.
He was a bootlegger. And modern day in
Mazaraha.
in the 30s. Wild West tale for that guy. He was shootouts with popos and his little swamp yard and all that shit. So,
Yeah, he was a bad motherfucker.
pretty cool story for him. And yeah, we'll be back for that next week for more Outlaws and Gunslingers. We'll see you then, Brother Michigan, this week.
Bang, bang.